Alrighty.
This season was a mess. We got one game left, and it's a Super Bowl that brings back old memories. Maybe we'll actually go for it at the 1 yard line. Hey there, peeps! Detective Woo Woo here. And
I see what you did there. Oh my god.
maybe the Seahawks will actually run it on the one. But yes, we are here. It is Wednesday, February 4th. We are 4 days out from Super Bowl 60. So that just leaves one game left for our predictions. I'm here with one of my very special friends who's also a football fanatic. If you'd like to introduce yourself.
Wow, you're not even gonna say my name. Hey, what's up, everybody? Andrew the Hedgehog here, or just you just simply call me Andrew because this is not in character.
Or just
But
call him Wojak.
well, shit, yeah, man. Like, dude, yeah, man. This is absolutely insane. That we're 60 years into
The
the
Super Bowl era.
Vince
Hmm.
Lombardi Trophy era. Like, I can't even. And I've been fortunate to be alive, and actually, ironically, a little bit more than half of them. So it's
I've
uh
been
it's
alive
it's
for a third of them. So
it's insane. No, I know you have been, but yeah, man. Like what a run what a weird postseason it's been, but it's also been a great postseason as well. And yeah, man, it's coming down to two tough teams that are gonna battle out to see who will be the king and champions of Super Bowl 60 out in Santa Clara. Uh, you gotta wonder, man, when this matchup happened, how many like what was your first instinct? Because to me, when the matchup happened, I literally was having instincts of, damn, the Seahawks are definitely gonna have the fans are gonna have flashbacks now to Super Bowl 49 all over again as
oh
from
yeah, that's
PTSD.
immediately what my first thought. But I mean, even when we got to the championship rounds, I was thinking all four of the teams that were there, the Broncos, the Patriots, the Rams, and the Seahawks, they've all won within the past 15 years. So it feels relatively new to some of the younger people, but for people like me, it's like it's one of these guys again. That's what we're coming down to.
In a sense, yeah. Look, it's been 11 years for the Seahawks, and what, 10 years for the Broncos at
Mm-hmm.
that point in time. So,
Yeah.
um, and New England's hard to believe it's been what, 8 years,
Yeah.
which
And then
honestly
the
doesn't
the
seem that
Rams were
long
just a
ago.
couple years ago. But yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, but when it comes to familiarity, yeah, you're not wrong. You're not
Mm-hmm.
wrong.
So how did we even get to this point? Well, I'm pulled up my previous stream where I predicted back in May the entire NFL schedule when it first came out. Just see how well that aged. Hold on, I gotta count real quick. I think maybe I got like 5 playoff teams in. I want to say six, seven. Actually, I got 8. Okay, but the positions they're in is just all over the place. First of all, the Super Bowl matchup that I predicted would happen, not even relatively close. Both teams didn't even make the postseason. The Chiefs and Lions. And you
You're
can't
such a
really blame
homer.
me so much for that prediction because I don't think
You're
any.
such a homer.
Okay, I don't think anyone would have suspected the Chiefs to fall off this badly. I even was saying during this they were going to regress a little bit. They weren't going to win 15 games again this year, but
Right.
only 6. You fell off by 9 games from last year. It's just a bunch of questions need to be answered in the offseason, and so far a couple of them have. We got our new offensive coordinator and Eric Bieniemy back. Um, we like Matt Nagy is going to be gone next year. I don't know about Spags though. I'm not sure if he's still trying to hunt down. Actually, not a head coaching job because everyone's been taken at this point. But still, it was a bit of a scare. But hopefully, we'll be back next season. Although our schedule is going to be incredibly tough. I hate to admit it.
Same with
As for
my
the
team.
Eagles, who ended up winning last year, you want to talk about them a little bit? Because
Do I
I
really
remember
have
how
to?
much you were like frustrated with like the offensive play calling and whatnot.
I don't even like. I don't even know how to even compare it to, man. It literally felt like you were watching a rerun of the same episode of the same TV show over and over and over and over and over again until like you're just like to the point where it's just driving you mad saying like okay, this is what's going to happen. This now that's going to happen. Now this is going to happen. Like I get dude, for a Super Bowl defending championship team, that was the most boring display of offense I have ever seen from a division winning Eagles team ever.
Mm.
Ever. Ever. I can't even oh my god, dude. I can't even put it into words. It was just so lackluster. It was just so inefficient. It was so like inefficient, inconsistent, irritating, and predictable is what I could describe. Now the defense, I will give them credit. The defense was great. The defense for the most part this season was, I would say, great. Not elite, but they were solid throughout most of the year, despite the amount of free agents they lost. Last offseason, whether it's Gardner Johnson, Sweat, um, you know, just a multitude of players that they've lost. I mean, the list just goes on and on. Like I can't even put a list on there. Darius Slay to Pittsburgh, um, which I'm still a little bit upset about. I felt like they should have kept him for like one more year for like a $5 million contract because like he still has a bit of game left in him, even though he's like
Mm-hmm.
37 years old. But still, like you lose that many players in an off season, and you knew it was going to affect you. But it surprised me most that the defense was more solidified than the offense because the Eagles' offense, for the most part, was pretty much the same offense that they were last year.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's amazing how a change in the OC can really fuck things up. And boy, did Kevin Patullo really wet the bed
Can I
astronomically.
can I give you a stat real quick? In the past 11 years, Jalen Hurts has never had an offensive coordinator that's remained with him going into the next year. This
And
goes back to him all the way back in college.
that's what I'll never understand.
Think about that. And yet he's still one of the most caliber quarterbacks in the league.
And yeah,
It's
yep.
phenomenal. Like
I
people are saying like sometimes like oh Jalen Hurts was carried whatnot. He's done his part. Maybe he's not the most fantastic quarterback out there, but he's done his part and he's really gotten the Eagles to another level. I gotta
he's a
give
solid
props to him.
quarterback. He's not an elite quarterback, okay?
Yes.
Because you need to show that consistency, okay? If you want to be anywhere like Elway or Brady or Peyton Manning, like if you want to show those consistent stats on offense, which I mean I know it's not all about the stats, but if you want to be consistent, then you got to show it, man. You got to show it.
Hmm.
Sure, I mean, but keep in mind though, he only threw 7 interceptions this year.
It is kind of weird. Yeah, he wasn't much on the turnover side of things. It's just
The
everywhere
point
else it was
it
kind
was the
of
production.
lacking.
It was
Yeah, the
it was the
production overall.
production.
He wasn't
No,
making the costly mistakes.
no.
And
The
yeah, I
play
think
calling
4 or 5 of them were against the Chargers alone. But
Yep.
still, it's just not. It wasn't entirely on him. Like the
Yeah.
offensive play calling was not it this
No,
year.
no. Look, I'm not trying to defend him by any means. Like, I mean, that Chargers game. Oh my god. Like, I felt like watching Bad News Bears. Like on that for sure. But no, I would say at least 80% of it was on the offensive coaching staff. I would say a good like maybe 10, like other like 10-20% is on Jalen. Like like he needs to. But but um, but no, it's just the whole offensive side of the ball is to blame for why the Eagles didn't even make even any run at all whatsoever.
Hmm. And yet, despite all of that, the Eagles broke an NFC East curse of lasting over 20 years. They finally
Oh one to
repeated.
oh
They
one to oh
finally
four,
repeated as division champions.
2001 to 2004 with Donovan McNabb and Andy Reid,
Hmm.
which is insanity.
Not only that, they're the only team in the league to repeat as division champions. Every single other division had a new division winner, which is insanity to think about.
Every year from 2005 to 2024, like
Hmm.
that's literally a whole generation. You don't see things like that at all, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you got that streak is broken, and then you have your team. So we have the Eagles that broke the consecutive that non-consecutive division title streak
Mm-hmm.
within one division, but yeah, your division, in terms of division titles, consecutive division title
I think we
wins
won
is
like
now
9 or 10 in a row
nine.
before
I
this
think it was
year.
nine.
9,
Yeah,
yeah.
and it's
And
now broken.
then the Broncos finally won again. So yeah.
Yeah, but listen, I didn't expect that big of a fall off. But to be fair, I even told you before the season started. I said I would keep an eye on the Broncos and Chargers. You know this
Mm-hmm.
division's gonna get tougher, man.
Mm-hmm. And
And
it's
boy, did it
and
ever.
believe it or not, I think I know I said this last year, but I think the Raiders could be a tougher team next year. They're gonna
It
get
could.
Fernando Mendoza through the draft. They actually got a pretty decent head coach hire. I forgot
Right.
who he was, but I think they beat out the Cardinals for I think one of what was it? Someone no, it was the Cardinals who got someone off of McVay's little
I
defensive
forget.
carousel or whatever.
I can't remember the name off the top of my head.
But yeah, it's the Raiders aren't going to be as bad. I really don't think they are. But I did say that about them this year, and they have the #1 overall pick. So
Yeah,
take my words with a grain of salt.
I will say I would not be surprised if the oh my god, why am I blanking so hard? The Chiefs are in the AFC West, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So don't be surprised if that division next year is going to be just as tough as the NFC West was this year.
You know what makes things worse? The
What?
entire AFC West plays the NFC West
Yep.
for their part of their schedule.
That's
It's
what I'm
part of what
saying.
makes the Chiefs' schedule the fifth
It's
toughest in
yeah.
the entire league going into
You got the
next season.
Chargers who are going to be ready. You got the Chargers who are, they could be a potential up team. I mean, if Justin Herbert can, you know, everything together, which I hope he does, as well as when Bo Nix comes back from for Denver. Hopefully he'll be back before the start of the next season because a broken
Hmm.
ankle is a significant injury. But I'm sure I have hope that he'll be back around when the start of the season's at the start of the season or early on in the season. But dude, when come September, bro, you better brace yourself for a very lethal division potentially.
Yeah. Yeah. Zoe says, I only say Green Bay is better. I only say that because I grew up watching Green Bay a bit. My mom's a Green Bay fan, so, and I have a soft spot for Green Bay, so I'm not entirely yelling at you, Zoe, but
I
still,
don't.
that the way they fell off hurt a little bit.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be
yeah.
honest.
No, I don't. Because seriously, the whole like tush push saga from no, fuck them. Fuck the
Some other
Packers.
notable teams though. I have on my bracket here. I had the Lions, like I said. They not only did completely miss the playoffs, they ended up getting last in the division somehow, which goes to and they have a winning record, by the way. So that really goes to show you how well the NFC North really played this year.
The
Even the
NFC
Vikings.
itself. The
Yeah,
NFC
even the Vikings
itself.
though. I thought they were going to be
Yeah.
falling off with like the whole 9 kind of like drama and whatnot. They still finished with a winning record, so I got to give credit to Minnesota where credit is due. But yeah, the NFC looked a lot tougher this year. You're
Dude,
right
the
on that
NFC
aspect.
was fucking loaded.
Hmm.
Outside the NFC East, of course, but
Well, the
the
NFC
other
South wasn't entirely good too, though.
no, like just overall, like the
Hmm.
NFC was loaded with what they had.
Hmm. And speaking of the South, I know Bryce Young. I think a lot of people were like saying, "Oh, is he a bust already after 2 years?" Man helped this team get to a playoff position. That's actually kind of incredible. Now I'm thinking about it, and he almost won a playoff game too. That was a lot. That was a lot closer of a game than people thought against the Rams.
Mhm.
I think Carolina's going to get better this offseason. I really do, but we'll see how
Okay.
things go. And what else? Um, I think everyone thought that was going to be like the Chiefs, the Bills, the Ravens, and the Texans winning their divisions again. Maybe at least 3 of them. Maybe you get a surprise one somewhere. All 4 of them getting knocked off the division podiums is crazy.
I know,
The
right?
and then and speaking of the Bills, that organization somehow turned into the Dallas Cowboys overnight. Oh my god, I still don't get the Sean McDermott firing. I really don't. I don't think he
That's
was the problem.
that surprised the hell out of me. That really surprised the hell out of me.
Hmm.
But dude, I'm sure he's gonna find a job really fast.
I don't think he's going to be hired as a head coach because again, all of them already all the slots are already filled up for head coaching, but still,
He'll find a position.
yeah, he'll find somewhere. They promoted Joe Brady for the OC to head coach, so it's a very
Really?
interesting move.
Okay.
And I'm not sure if that's a good move or not. I'm going to be flat out honest with you.
Yeah, I'll be honest. Looking back on this bracket that you made, and it still like kind of triggered me a little bit. I am still was more than surprised that you had Washington in that bracket.
I thought okay, I knew Washington wasn't gonna go on that miracle run. I thought they were gonna produce better in the regular season and actually somehow overtake Philly for the division, but I didn't think they were gonna go on another playoff run. I thought they were gonna get stopped in their tracks early. I didn't think they
Right.
completely fall off the face of the earth.
Right.
hmm And another notable one, Chicago. I had belief in the Bears. I as you see, I had them as the seventh seed overall. I did not expect them to win the division and get to the divisional round. That shocked me this year. And it was a feel good story, too. Caleb Williams, Ben Johnson, revitalizing that team. It was phenomenal. They
I'll
played
be
their hearts
honest.
out.
I'll be honest. If I'm a Chicago Bear fan, I would be highly optimistic for what's to come next season. To me,
hmm
if anything, it should feel like either like the very early stages of McNabb and Reed in 2000, 2001, when you knew something good was on the horizon. Like I
hmm
would compare it to something like that. Um, but yeah, no, like for what they did, and they definitely overachieved this year a little bit. I would feel extremely optimistic as a Bears fan going into
hmm
the 2026 season for sure.
Yeah. If you're the Lions, though, you're on the opposite end. You're really missing Ben Johnson in that play calling. However, because you're in last, you get a little bit of an easier schedule to help you out a little bit. So
Yes,
I
you
wouldn't be
do.
surprised if the Lions are back next year.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past that either.
hmm Going back a little bit too, I had some of these like teams and whatnot already up here. It's a little hard to see, but New England, who's playing in the Super Bowl, I had them 8-9. I actually had a little bit of optimism for Mike Vrabel coming into New England. I thought he was a really good hire. Obviously, I undersold the Patriots a little bit. I didn't think they were quite there yet, but man, I'm kind of happy to say I actually kind of had the belief in the Patriots and I actually pulled through. So same with the Bears. These two are for me are like, yeah, I didn't think they'd get as far as they got, but I'm at least happy I had some hope in them. As for like Detroit and Tampa, the Tampa Bay pick, oh god. I've somehow thought that Baker Mayfield was going to take another leap forward, that he was
You
going to
didn't.
be playing lights out, and for the first few weeks of the season, he really did. I mean, we were talking like maybe like week 5 or so, maybe Baker's like a front runner for the MVP this season, and then
And then
Tampa Bay
they
fell
just fell.
off
They
hard.
fell the fuck off, and boy, did that whole division too. My
hmm
God,
Yeah.
for an 11-6 team, they definitely did not feel like an 11-6 team. Like I say, the
Mm.
same thing with the Eagles. Like it was just those two teams.
No, these are predictions. These aren't the actual.
Wait, oh, that's a prediction. Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
the link was the same. No, but I can understand your prediction
hmm
of why they would go 11-6. But
Yeah.
my God,
And
it
I
go,
said this at the beginning of the season or towards the middle of the season. I can't apologize for enough Seattle fans for thinking you guys were gonna go 7-10. I don't know what I was thinking. I really didn't. I thought Sam Darnold was
well,
not gonna be the answer for y'all. I
I
really
did.
didn't.
I didn't have them going 7-10. I felt like more like a flip flop. Like you flip flop them around at like 10-7.
Mm-hmm.
But where did they finish? 14-3. I think it was
14 and
14 and
3, and
3.
they're playing in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. No. Well. Yeah. No shit, Sherlock. I know that. I meant in terms of the record standpoint. But yeah. No.
mm-hmm.
I like maybe like 11 wins at the most. I did not expect 14, especially in
Yeah.
that tough schedule that they had and the tough division.
Mm-hmm.
It's insanity.
Some other storylines too. I had Cincinnati at like 10-7. They really missed Joe Burrow, and even when he came back, they couldn't really get much done with him. It was just frustrating football for a Bengals fan, and you're just wondering how long are they going to be able to keep Burrow in Cincinnati for? How big is their window now? Because if
It's
you
thinning. It's
yeah
thinning.
if you
It's
can't get it
thinning.
done next year, do you really even have a window anymore? It's my
I
question.
say honestly, and this may sound like a bit of a hot take, if the same crap happens again next year, I say they have to draft a quarterback.
Hmm. Yeah, it's like it's the same problem the Chiefs had last year. The O line just cannot protect Joe Burrow for their lives. He keeps getting hit
I
brutally,
feel
and
bad
it's
for the dude.
showing.
I feel no. That's why if I'm a Bengals fan, you have to get desperate a little bit, and your first two picks or something should be linemen.
Mm-hmm.
Like you gotta like Burrow is literally at the prime of his career now. The last thing you want to do is to get him is to have it wasted. And I feel bad
Mm-hmm.
for the dude. And I was rooting for him so freaking hard in Super Bowl 56. I really wanted him to beat the Rams in LA in their home stadium. I just felt so bad for the kid. I really
Mm-hmm.
wanted him to get it done.
Yeah. And kind of looking on some of these other ones, I think who I predicted was going to be the worst team in the league was New Orleans. And for the first half of the season, it kind of looked like it was going to be that way. They were going to be like one of the top or the bottom 5 teams in the league, and then they went on that run at the end of the year. Who was it? Tyler Shuck? Where did he come from? Jesus.
I
I
know
don't
who
know
the
if he's
king
going
of
to be
it.
the
Yeah.
I don't know if he's going to be the long-term quarterback in New Orleans. But hey, maybe it's a little bit of optimism for next year. Who knows?
Who knows? Yeah, who knows?
Especially in an NFC South that just does not look as strong. Maybe New Orleans can sneak in there somewhere, but I wouldn't exactly put my money on it. Who knows though? And I think that's about it in just terms of like predicting overall what the or at least what the season was going to look like.
Right.
It like push comes to shove, it was not relatively close. It really
I know,
wasn't.
right?
It could have been a whole lot better. I do want to move to my playoff bracket though, because I did have a little bit of fun takes here and there.
All right.
I did.
No,
I still have my Super Bowl favorite
yeah.
still in
But then
the
we gotta get to the
still
good
in the
stuff then
game.
after with the Super Bowl matchup. That's what I can't. That's what I'm really looking forward to getting into.
Yeah. Oh shoot, wrong thing. but yes,
Wow.
but yes, I predicted at the beginning of the postseason Seattle was going to win it all. I finally had more faith in this team, and it's showing right now. They're going on that run. They blew out San Francisco and they beat LA in a wild NFC Championship game. And I have them winning the Super Bowl still. At least
So
that's
where's
where
your
my
bracket?
bracket has. Yeah. Um, I thought Jackson was going to come out of the AFC. Reason being, I thought Jacksonville and Buffalo were probably the two most complete teams in the AFC. I thought they were going to be whoever came out of that game was going to go all the way to the Super Bowl. I didn't know if they were going to win it, but I was just not liking the rest of the AFC. But yeah, it's just they keep proving me wrong, I guess. Let's see. I mean, some other notable ones like I almost had the NFC Championship game right, but and Chicago almost did it. They almost came back too. That's been their storyline all
That
year.
is true. Yeah,
But
no, you almost had it right, man.
mm,
But honestly, like looking back on this, if I did a bracket, I would have definitely gone Seahawks Rams. Like I
mm-hmm,
would have never picked the Panthers, the Eagles, um, or maybe the Bears. I could have picked as my second guess, like you did, but no,
mm-hmm,
dude, like that was probably. I'm not gonna lie, that was probably one of the best like back and forth conference championship games I've ever seen in a long time.
yeah,
It was a claw it out, drag it out, back and forth. It was literally as an evenly matchup boxing match you could possibly think of. That
mm-hmm,
was an incredibly fun game to watch. 720 combined total yards between the two teams.
yes. And on the other side, it was not the same for the AFC Championship game. That
I
was
wanted to go to
just
bed.
like, can we get to the next one already? Can we get to the NFC one already?
And I'll be honest, Nick's getting hurt really, really put a damper into it. It really did. I'm not gonna lie.
Mm-hmm.
It was such a big damper, and I felt really bad for the Denver fans being at that
Yeah.
stadium, knowing that they're. I'm like, huh. I was like, can they actually pull off a Nick Foles here and see what happens? And I'm like, nope, not even close.
It's not even the worst part is Jarrett Stidham didn't even play that bad of a game. He actually held his own for as much as he could. It's just the weather and then the Patriots defense just really showing up is what really
Oh,
determined who was going to win that game.
bro.
And yeah, I mean, it's a still strong bracket considering everything that happened. Even in
Uh-huh.
the playoffs, it's just kind of unpredictable a little bit.
Yeah, this sets up a really enticing matchup between these two teams. Like they both made their runs in incredibly different ways. The Patriots with their defense, the Seahawks with their offense.
Yeah.
That's the matchup I'm going to be looking forward to the most. Is how they fare against one another within the New England defense against the Seattle offense.
hmm I got a little bit of some stats for you as well. I know going into the postseason, I think we all thought it was going to be the opposite. It was going to be the Patriots offense that was going to be lighting things up, and then the defense of Seattle shutting just everyone down.
Nope.
It just has not played out that way though. It's been the opposite. As for the postseason so far, let me look at starting with the Seattle Seahawks. Their defense, they've allowed 16 and a half points per game, 246 and a half yards per game through the air, and then a total of 111 yards per game on the ground. So they've held their own. They've done enough so far to really keep Seattle in things. The offense,
Right.
though, lighting him up. 36 points per game, 213 and a half yards through the air, and 125 yards on the ground per game. It's just the offense is on another level. And Sam Darnold, give credit to him because a lot of people were thinking maybe he was going to lay another egg like he did last year in his final two games with Minnesota. But he's completely changed a lot throughout this past offseason. And he's been playing really well in these games, and he's been showing up where he needs to. That's going to be
Right.
important for Seattle going into this game because if Sam Darnold does not have a good day, it could be a long day, especially when you're
Right.
going up against New England's defense so far.
Right. But here's the thing, like even though it shows in some of the stats, like here, I'll give you a perfect example with New England being their points per game is second overall in the NFL. But keep in
Mm-hmm.
mind, their schedule was incredibly fucking easy, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like they literally have one of, if not the easiest schedules in all of football this past season.
Yeah.
But like look here, look, I'll give you a perfect example right here. 20.8 points per game, second in the NFL. Yards per game, 379.4, third in the NFL. Like 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 I want to give him some sort of credit, but
I mean,
like
I still will, just because even in any NFL schedule, putting up like those kinds of numbers consistently on offense is really damn good. However, you can't really give him complete credit because of that schedule. So I
exactly.
can understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
In terms of the postseason, the offense has not been doing a whole lot.
No,
18 points per game.
it's been the
That's
defense.
concerning on its own. Just because going up against Seattle's really, really good defense, you're going to
Yep.
need a lot of points to really have a chance in this one. 147.6 yards through the air per game and 104 yards per game on the ground. Pretty damn good numbers overall. And
Right.
here's where you can like go and shock. The defense. Remember, New England's played 3 games this postseason. 71.3 yards per gain allowed on the ground, 138.3 yards per game allowed through the air, 8.7 points allowed per game. That's through 3 games. Their
That's
defense
crazy.
is the story this postseason.
That's insane.
But then at the same time as well, you mentioned New England's easy schedule just getting to the postseason. You got to also remember who they were playing as well throughout the postseason. Wildcard
Right.
round, Justin Herbert just laid an egg. And that O line was for the Chargers. Ugh, that was awful.
Yeah,
Texans,
no.
very similar story. CJ Stroud, I think he threw like 4 picks on the day. And the O line was a weak spot for Houston this all season. And the AFC Championship game, you don't have to deal with Bo Nix. You get Jared Stidham instead. You get the cold, crappy weather in the second half,
in the
which
snow.
is going to slow down offensive production altogether. So it's you almost feel like Seattle truly is New England's truest first test this season, which it's going to be kind of concerning overall if I'm just being flat
Is
out
how is the
honest
team
here.
is how is this team going to stand up in terms of level of toughness in terms of because like because Seattle has like that's the thing. It makes sense as why most people would favor and lean more towards Seattle because of you know in terms of the teams they played against throughout the season, the tough division that they had in San Francisco and LA, in which they beat both those teams to get to the Super Bowl, and it just goes to show that they know how to stand within the competition.
Mm-hmm.
They're playing like the true number one seed.
Yeah.
Now the question is, can New England match that intensity from Seattle, especially from their offensive side of the football? Because let's face it, we can go into many details and highlights and this or that, like pointing fingers at certain things. If we come down to the nitty gritty of it, dude, New England has to put up points. Let's just
Mm-hmm.
face it. If they this is where I'm calling it right now. If they don't score at least 24 points, they're not winning the Super Bowl. They're
Yeah,
not. They're not.
that's my kind of take too. New England has to put up points in this game because the Seahawks defense is not going to mess around in this game. And here is another thing too. Like the dark horse story of the Seattle playoff run is their special teams. You've
Right.
noticed as well in their games against San Francisco and LA, their special teams has come up big in terms of like returning, and they've also forced fumbles on kickoff returns and punt returns. So they've been able to take advantage through special teams. So they're going to
Right.
easily set themselves up for success throughout that way. Sure, New England can maybe like limit that success somehow through special teams, but it's just you're not going to be able to stop them. You're not going to be able to stop the Seattle offense um, that's been rolling this postseason. The only thing you can do is contain them.
That's the question is like is that's the big question mark for New England on their defense. Can they somehow stop this Seattle juggernaut offense?
I think the key to it is you got to get after Sam Darnold. I mean, it only takes one bad game from Sam Darnold to have this entire thing get thrown out the window.
Yep.
And if New England can force really, really bad turnovers like from Darnold, they really do have a chance of limiting the offense and maybe setting themselves up to get points, which is going to be huge in this game. I think overall though, I think it's going to be a defensive game. I don't think it's going to be like the juggernaut and NFC Championship game we saw 2 weeks ago. I think it's going to be leaning towards maybe middle kind of scoring game, maybe like 20s or maybe someone gets to the 30s. I don't know, but I think that's where I'm kind of leaning in towards of like what the score could be.
Right. Right. And let me just give you a perfect example of that because you do realize that and this is not because of bias, but going to Super Bowl 52, you like the only way the Eagles were going to beat the Patriots, ironically enough, is that they had to put points on the board because that's what Brady was known for, is that putting points when it mattered the most in the postseason and putting up, and he could
Mm-hmm.
put up a lot of points. That's what makes him the GOAT.
Yeah.
But you knew for the Eagles standpoint, yeah, it's fine to put some pressure on Brady and try to somewhat contain him, which obviously they didn't do, giving up over 500 yards in that game. But it took one play. It was the strip sack. But however, getting back to my main point is that they had to get touchdowns and they had to put points on the scoreboard. And boy, did they ever! And
Mm-hmm.
and lo and behold, that was the reason why they won that Super Bowl was because of the offense.
Yeah,
And
it's
and,
like
and that's what
your
and that's
offense
what
has to find rhythm in this game. I know we've
no,
been
that's the
saying
thing.
like this entire time how good these two defenses are, but to beat these defenses, you got to put up a very caliber offense because otherwise you're gonna have a really really long day.
And that's why you got to think like maybe the Rams was probably their best bet in terms of an offensive. Obviously, the Rams had, but
Hmm.
they just didn't get the job done at the end.
The key is
Because if
for
any,
Seattle, I think, is that defense is going to have to step up a little bit. I know they did against San Francisco, but again, the 49ers were injury rattled all throughout that entire game. It was just over before before like it even started pretty much with that kickoff
that
return.
that yeah, that kickoff return for a touchdown was literally the sign of like, yeah, this
Hmm.
may not be a tight game, maybe that some people once thought it was going to be. And
Yeah,
that's
and
I
if
had
Drake
that
make,
gut.
oh, go ahead.
No. I just said I had that gut feeling like right when that punt return went in for a touchdown, literally right at the kickoff to start the game. That was like my gut feeling in the back of my mind was like, yeah, this could be a blowout.
Hmm. And the thing is, though, if you put up a really good offensive performance, though, the Seahawks defense isn't exactly invincible. The Rams proved it. They put up 27 points against that Seattle defense.
Yeah, it was much like that regular season game between the two of them
Hmm.
back in what I think it was I think it may have been December. I mean
Yeah.
that was also back and forth, went into overtime and whatnot. I think it was
Hmm.
like 38-37, which by far was one of the best regular season games I've ever seen. But
I
like it was their offense that that had a legitimate shot as the reason to beat the Seahawks, but the Seahawks just have a slightly better offense.
hmm It's also because I said at the beginning of that prediction, or towards the end of that, when I made my prediction that Seattle would win that game, whoever was going to win that game between the Seahawks and Rams was going to be the team that did not make a crucial mistake. And what did the Rams do? They made a crucial mistake on that muffled punt,
Yep,
and that's why
yep,
we're here.
and that's why we are here. Absolutely.
In terms of this, it's gonna be in Santa Clara. It's gonna be closer to Seattle than it is New England, obviously. So we'll probably get maybe slightly more Seahawks fans at the game. Who knows? I think New England fans would still probably travel well though,
They will.
considering how freaking successful they were under Brady. Obviously, the last time these two teams met up, it was very different. The Seahawks had Russell Wilson, the Legion of Boom. They were going for their second straight. They were trying to repeat. New England had Tom Brady, obviously. And then I think we all know the joke at the beginning I made. Pete Carroll decides not to run it at the 1 yard line with beast mode. So, and that's how they lose that game.
Is it fair to say it's arguable to say is the worst and dumbest play call in the history of the Vince Lombardi Super Bowl era?
It's definitely up there, if not the top, the cream of the crop.
Because
So,
honestly, I still can't think, even after all these other Super Bowl highlights, I can't think of any other games or um in terms of play calling, dumb play calling, that was even more dumb than that one from Pete Carroll.
mm-hmm.
Not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's just it's mind-boggling sometimes to think about it.
It really is, man.
Hmm. But yeah, in terms of this game, whew, we already talked a lot about it. I think it's time we say what our score predictions are, man.
Already? Okay.
We don't usually do these very long. I mean, there's
That's
only so
true.
much we can cover in like an hour or so.
No, that's true. No, that's true.
Who? Okay,
Uh
what are your keys to the game, and who's winning this, and what's the score?
Well, I think it's for New England side. I think it's what you briefly touched upon. It is that you got to get pressure on Darnold. I mean, if you're gonna have any hope of shutting down this offense, you have to apply pressure on Darnold, despite what he's battling. Because I know he was battling through an oblique injury, and he's gonna be slightly healthier now, given the fact he's got an extra week to prepare and rest. If you don't get any pressure on Darnold, you're gonna get blown out. Like I'm sorry. Like the firepower that they have with Walker and Smith, what's his name? What's his name? You may want to help me out here.
Um,
The one with last, I think it was
JSN.
Jigba. Yeah, JSN. Yeah. Oh yeah, Smith Jigba. That's what his name is. Okay, but yeah, like they have the running game is amazing with Walker. They have great receiving. Their offense is elite. All right, I don't even need to go through every single player and every single stat. Their offense is elite. We've already touched upon this because let me just put it this way: the Seahawks are right behind the Patriots in points per game at 28.4. But keep in mind, that's with a much harder schedule. a much harder schedule. Okay, and keep in mind too that and keep in mind too, like just keep in mind also too, detective. The New England overall in sacks is they're in the bottom 10. They're in the top 10 in worst amount of defensive sacks in the NFL at 35, which is the 10th worst in the NFL. So if they're going to have any chance of winning this game, you need to put the pressure on Darnold. Okay, you have to, and you have to, and if they're gonna have any shot of winning this game, they need to get off to a hot start. Within the
Mm-hmm.
first, like, here's the thing: they need to score a touchdown within their first two possessions. They have to put more pressure on Darnold to make him throw the ball more. If they can do both those things, I think they do. This is going to be a long, long, long night for for New England. Now for
Mm-hmm.
Seattle, um, now I think I'd put it eerily similar to from New England side. Because May is not good under pressure. He's not. And if that defense can get to him, yeah, no, I think again, Seattle is going to have a typical butt whooping on the Patriots. And I think for Seattle on offense, you got to get Darnold in a groove. I think, yeah, as much as you have a great running game with Walker, you need to get the passing game going with Darnold. Get some of the angst and some of the jitters off of him. And if he can get into an early groove, I could see Seattle's offense staying hot as it always has been throughout the postseason. Here's. I really don't think it's going to be a back and forth game. I'll be more than shocked if it is. Um, but and I've had this feeling all along since this matchup came about, dude. I'm rolling with the Seahawks. I think it's going to be slightly tight in the first half, but Seattle's going to pull away in the second. But Seattle's going to pull away. I think the offense is going to be way too much. Sure, defense wins championships. I get that. That's an old saying that's been going on for so long. However, I don't think that'll be the case this Super Bowl. Like I said, I think Seattle's offense is just going to be way too much for New England's defense, and I got the Seahawks rolling. I got the Seahawks rolling 34-20.
Alrighty. Well, I mean, I have a very similar mindset in terms of you. I mean, obviously, I discussed my keys of how each team's gonna win. New England's got to get to Darnold, and Drake May's got to have himself a pretty damn good game. Seattle, their defense needs to revert to the regular season defense. They can't be allowing 27 points on this game, and
Oh,
and in terms of the offense, Sam Darnold just has to play a pretty damn good game, like he's been doing, which he's been very capable. But it all takes one game. It just takes one game, one bad game for it all to go down the drain.
absolutely.
This season, I went 168 and 105 in terms of the regular season in terms of predicting games, so a little worse than last season. But considering how chaotic this season was, it's not so bad. Or 103, I'm sorry. Overall, with the 7-5 playoff record, it brings me to 175, 108 and 1. I still hate that fucking tie. Um
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm in a very similar boat as you. I think it's going to be, like I said, not an entirely high scoring game. I think the defenses are going to be in control for a little bit. I think it's going to be a lower scoring first half, but the second half is where the scoring really starts to kick off in terms of that. I think Seattle does do enough, and I think it's gonna seem like a tight game when I say the score, but I don't think it's gonna be as close as people think it's gonna be. So, or at least what the score says it's gonna be. I don't think it's gonna be a blowout. I don't think New England's that bad. I really don't think so. But it's just Seattle's just way too overpowered, and I think they're the
Yeah.
more balanced football team. Their offense and defense is going to be able to give each other the best chances at winning this game, and the special teams is going to be coming in somehow really big for Seattle in this game. So I think, with that being said, I gotta go with Seattle in this one. I'm going 31 to 31-17 Seattle in this one.
Wow. Okay. So same point differential as me. So we got
Mm-hmm.
Seattle by 14 points.
Yeah. It's gonna be it. I almost thought about giving them maybe like 27-17, but I think Seattle's offense is gonna take off in the second half. So that's
Yeah.
where
Same
I'm
here.
standing here.
Yeah. Like, and this is nothing against New England. And look, I'll give them a lot of credit because they were 4-13 last year. They were dead last in their division last year, and now they're
Mm-hmm.
on the verge of a seventh. Um, they're on the verge of a seventh Vince Lombardi Trophy since the start of the new millennium, which
Mm-hmm.
is crazy to think about. But
Yeah, it's insanity.
you got to think that maybe yes, this could be a sign of hopefully if like again, I'm not going to say May's going to be the new Brady, but if this may be a sign to come between Vrabel and May, who knows?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to again, I'm not going to compare them to Brady and Belichick because we're not going to see a Brady and Belichick thing ever again.
Yeah.
But could there be maybe something kind of similar to those two with May and Vrabel? Maybe. That's the biggest question mark going forward. Is
Mm-hmm.
regardless of what happens, what's going to be the plan for those two as a duo going forward?
Mm-hmm.
Um, win or lose. But yeah, no, I'm right there with you, man. Like I'm right. Like literally everything you just said, you just nailed it right on the head. Again, like look, I want the game to be a bit closer. I want this to be a tight game to make the game more fun. But like I said, I just think Seattle's offense is just too much. It's too much. I think they just have a well more balanced offense against tougher opponents and better opponents than New England does.
Yeah, it's whatever the case though. However this game plays out, give credit to the coaches as well. Mike Vrabel, Mike McDonald. They've really put themselves together a team on both sides. I think both of these teams are gonna have bright futures wherever they go.
They really
However this
did.
game plays out.
Oh, they really did. They really did.
Mm-hmm.
They really did.
And who
Absolutely.
knows? Maybe we'll get the Chiefs and Eagles next season. Maybe continue
Hey,
that trend.
hey, listen. The pattern may happen. We saw it in 22. We saw it in 24. Hey,
Maybe
rubber match in 26.
yeah. This time next year, it'll be Chiefs and Eagles once again, and people will be screaming bloody murder, except for the two of us who are just happy we
Oh
can
my
get a rubber
God! Could you
match.
imagine the fans that react if those two met again? Like if that actually were
hmm
to happen.
Yeah, man,
I,
I wouldn't mind. I really
I,
wouldn't.
hell, I wouldn't mind. Hell, I wouldn't mind either. But hey, listen, I know you want to end things off soon, but because it's been 60 years since the Super Bowl, I don't know if you saw any whole old Super Bowl highlights and games. Even if like I'm talking about like any Super Bowl game, it doesn't have to be where your team has to be in it. Do you have a memorable Super Bowl game that you want to? You don't have to
I
go into
mentioned
detail.
this last. Okay, I mentioned this last year. My first ever Super Bowl that I saw on TV. Well, obviously I wasn't there. I have never been to any Super Bowl in person. You know how expensive those tickets are. But
Yeah.
the first
Oh
Super
yeah.
Bowl I've ever actually got to see was Super Bowl 47 between the Ravens and the 49ers. I think that
Oh, the
game's what really got
blackout,
me into football. The
blackout game.
Mm-hmm. The Powerball Bowl, the blackout game, San Francisco nearly comes back. It was like every piece of cinema that you could ever ask for. It was
Oh
phenomenal.
my
That
God.
game definitely got me into the sport of football.
Dude, oh my God, dude. Dude, that's an excellent Super Bowl game to bring up about. That Super Bowl, like, and the fact that it happened literally at the same stadium in which our teams played each other last year, and
That
like
yeah,
part of
that's
me,
the reason I
here's the thing,
mentioned it last year.
that's the thing. Like, I'll be quite honest. Like, when they made it 20, like, I'll be honest. After Jake Elliott made that field goal to make it 27-0 in the third quarter, part a slight there was a slight hinge of my flashback in the back of my brain was like, I swear to fucking God, if the power goes out and Kansas City makes a run, I will never watch football ever again.
Dude,
Like,
if they no, if they came back from more than 28-3 down, I think Falcons fans could finally like breathe. That's why I was saying like if the Chiefs come back, I think the Falcons are just rooting for us now because they won't be the laughing stocks of the league. But no, that's
No,
not how it played out.
no. I think for your sake, as soon as it was 40-6, you're like, yeah, they're not coming back. No matter how many points they
Nah.
get in the
The
fourth
the
quarter, like, yeah,
the
it's
yeah,
not
the
happening.
16 points they scored after that were garbage time points at that
Yeah,
point.
it was garbage time. Yeah, you like even like, and I know you're a realistic fan. Like you were like, yeah, no,
Hmm.
like it was too little, too late.
The
It's done.
Kendrick Lamar halftime show was the best part of that game.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was. Hey, we get Bad Bunny in the Super Bowl. I have no idea who that is.
I know who that is, and I particularly don't care because I'm not watching the halftime shows. They're utter garbage.
Mm.
I'm not
The
I'm not
Kendrick,
I'm not watching them.
actually, the half last year's was really good. Super Bowls 56 and 59 definitely had really good halftime shows.
Yeah, they really don't pique my interest really. But
Mm.
I'll be honest. So my first Super Bowl that I've ever watched was I was literally only how old was I? I was only 6 years old. Um, it was actually during the 2001 season between New England and St. Louis, the Rams, when they were in St. Louis at the time.
Oh
It
wait,
was
your first Super Bowl was when Tom Brady won his first Super
Yeah,
Bowl?
yeah, yep. It was also the U2 halftime show where they showed the banner of all the victims that were killed on 9/11, and
Oh
it still
dang.
to this day is by far the best Super Bowl halftime show I've ever seen in my life
Mm-hmm.
because it was utterly powerful. And what U2 did in that halftime show was unreal. And believe it or not, it was in New Orleans.
Oh my god. Why are our first Super Bowls games that happened in New Orleans?
I know it's crazy, right? I know, ironically enough.
Oh my
Um,
god.
but that was the first one I've watched. But if I had to pick one, like, okay, probably my favorite that I've seen in my lifetime, actually as a football fan, if I wasn't including any of the Eagles ones in the Super Bowl, which I've seen four of them, if I had to exclude them, probably my favorite Super Bowl game. Oh man, this one's oh damn. There's been quite a few good ones. I'm not gonna
Hmm.
lie. There's been quite a few good ones.
For me, I'm almost tempted to
Oh,
pick Super Bowl 52 just because the back and forthness of that game was
dude,
so freaking exciting to watch. I was.
almost 1,200 yards of total offense
Hmm.
between New England and Philadelphia
Hmm.
overall. New England had over five, like yeah, literally over. It was like over 1,100, which
Hmm.
is the most total offense between two teams in the Super Bowl era. That
Yeah.
game, listen, as much as how fun Super Bowl 59 was for me, and not for you, obviously, but there was something about 52 that was it was literally like a Rocky. It was like something watching out of a Rocky movie. It felt like Rocky
Hmm.
2.
Yeah.
Let me put it this way. Let me put it this way real quickly, okay? Like when back so this was oh my god, it's hard to believe that it's almost 10 years ago already. But 8 years ago, dude, when we knew, like here's the thing. After the Eagles um beat Minnesota and because I think that was the first game in those conference championship games. I wanted New England. I wanted Brady. I did not want fucking Jacksonville. I'm like, and I remember having a debate with my dad about this, saying like, "Oh man, screw Brady, screw Belichick." I'm like, dude, you want to be the best, you gotta beat the best, dude. Like,
Hmm.
come on, like if you have future family members and you say, "Oh, your first Super Bowl, your team's first Super Bowl win," you want it against freaking Blake Bortles or Tom freaking Brady. Like, I wanted the Patriots,
Hmm.
and as soon as the Patriots won that game, all dude, I can tell you right now, all Eagles fans were getting flashbacks to Super Bowl 39 all over again from 2004, 2005. And
Hmm.
and needless to say, I'm more than certain that that's how Seattle's feeling too. When that matchup occurred, they were getting flashbacks to Super Bowl 49 all over again. In
I
terms of
can
that,
I cannot imagine what your reaction was to that strip sack of Brady during that game.
I was in my basement. I was in my basement watching on my big screen, and I was literally going insanity. I was like for like a good like 30 seconds, but I knew that there was still time left on the clock, and the Patriots still had a timeout, so I knew that they were going to get the ball back. Um, because you also had the 2 minute warning, so I knew they were going to get the ball back, but they weren't going to have any timeouts,
Hmm.
which was a good thing to see. Um, but dude, it took just that one defensive play right there to really what turned out to be the difference maker in the outcome of the game. But yeah, no, dude. So just overall, okay, let me just put it. I'll just say this right now and I'll stop rambling. But yeah, no, favorite Super Bowl game ever. If I had to include it, as I'm not again not I'm trying my best not to be biased, but Super Bowl 52 was by far the best Super Bowl game I've ever seen in my lifetime, just in general. But like I said, if I had to exclude the Eagles being in four of the Super Bowls that I've seen with them in my lifetime, I would say, oh, I'll be honest, dude. I'll say the Patriots and the Giants from 2007 when the Giants prevented them from their
Oh
perfect
yeah, I
season.
remember watching highlights of that game.
The Tyreek Hill helmet catch.
The David Tyree helmet catch? Why'd you
Did I
say
say
Tyreek?
Tyreek? Yeah,
Yeah, you said
Tyreek.
Tyreek
Yeah,
Hill.
Tyreek. And who caught the game winning touchdown? Was it Burris? I think it was Plaxico Burris.
Uh-huh.
Was it?
I think so.
Yeah, dude. At last drive, I would probably say that was probably one of, if not the greatest final drives, like game-winning touchdown drives I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
Like the way that they pulled it off, like nobody, like it was the game that no, like I can't recall any other Super Bowl where you go to a matchup and say, yeah, that team has no shot. Everyone was not picking the Giants at
I
all.
think the Giants were like the fourth seed out of the NFC, if I remember
They
correctly.
were. No, they were. They were. No, they were because the Cowboys won the division that year. I think they were. I think they were the top seed in the NFC that year. But yeah, the Giants upset them in the divisional round. No, yeah, no, dude, no, dude. I think they won. Yeah, no, dude, that was the season. They won 3 games on the road. They won in Tampa, then they won in Dallas, and then they beat Brett Favre in Green Bay right at the tail end of his career as
Mm-hmm.
a Packer. But yeah, no, dude. Honestly, yeah, no. That Super Bowl outside of the Eagles, without a doubt, is Super Bowl 42, without
Mm-hmm.
a doubt. Um, so would you say the lights out game, the Hardball Bowl was your favorite?
That was the one that got me into the sport of football, and it's definitely up there. But I also got to give credit to Super Bowl 52. That was like a phenomenal game. I remember watching that. And
Funny
then
enough, funny
a
enough, I actually do.
memory. You
I
mentioned
actually
a
do.
memory from
Yeah.
your team winning. I got to mention one from mine.
Oh
I
boy, I wonder who.
remember how down in the dumps I was when I saw San Francisco pick off Mahomes a second time, and I thought that was going to be the end of it. We were down 20 to
Wait,
10, we were down like
wait.
20 to
Which one?
10.
Super Bowl
Super Bowl
54 or Super?
54. This was our first championship
That
in
was
50 years.
2020. Yeah.
Yeah. It oh my god. When Mahomes made that 3rd and 15 throw to Tyreek on that jet chip wasp play, oh my god. That I think that finally got me back into it. I'm like, we may actually pull this off. Sure enough, we come all the way back. Every single Super Bowl we've won in the Mahomes era, we've had to make a comeback of some sort by over 10 points. It was it was insanity. Just how often we do it. It's magic, man. It really is.
Wow. Yeah, no, it's pure magic. That's what it comes
Mhm.
down to. I mean, hell, we've seen it. We've seen it with you've seen it with your team. I've seen it with my team, and
Maybe
it
some
goes to
fan will experience that with their team here.
oh yeah, that's for sure. Because listen, it's one thing to see your favorite team win a title, but in other sports, man, dude, there's something about the Super Bowl that just hits different. It just hits so fucking different, really.
Mhm.
And you go through the pain, but you also go through the glory. And I've experienced on both ends twice, uh, in my lifetime.
Mhm.
And well, yeah, but you've experienced more glory, but still. Um, but yeah, you just that's where but that's the beauty of it. You go through the pain of defeat, but you also embrace the joy, the joyous wonder of victory. And we'll see it from what happens on Sunday night.
Yeah.
Go Seahawks.
Who who knows? Maybe your Flyers will win a cup in your lifetime.
Or the Sixers.
Well, I don't really care about the NBA. I care more
I know
about
you
the
don't.
NHL.
Oh my god.
Or maybe you'll see the Phillies win a World Series in your lifetime outside
Oh
of
my god,
2008.
dude. dude, at this point right now, like the Eagles are like my only like in terms of the four teams, the Eagles are like
Hmm.
are still like the prominent teams that could still win it all. But yeah,
If we get
look,
a Flyers Golden Knights Stanley Cup final, we're definitely watching that.
oh yeah, no, we are if that
Hmm.
ever happens.
Yeah.
But look, we'll see what happens. Look, I've been fortunate to see my listen. I've been fortunate to see. I just want like in my lifetime, I just wanted to see one of my teams win multiple championships, and I'm glad I finally got to see that last year with the Eagles.
Hmm.
So I'm good. If I don't see anything more, then fine by me.
Yeah. With that being said, though, I think we should end things off before we get too out of hand with things. So, thank you so much, Andrew, for joining me on this. I've been wanting to get you in at least for one of these streams where we did like football talk like this. I remember doing this last year, had a blast with it. I knew I had to bring you back for this.
Oh no, dude. I think real quick right before we end this stream, because all I can say right now is all just shout out to all of you in the chat that did swing by for a little bit. You guys are the goats. Um, so chat, if I'll say this real quickly, for like a little story. Um, also, hey, little Mel, I see you in the chat. Uh, last year, when both of our favorite teams, the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles, were playing in the Super Bowl for Super Bowl 59, Detective and I made a bet that we agreed to, and we agreed that if the Chiefs had won the Super Bowl, I would have to make my profile picture uh, of the Kansas City Chiefs logo saying Super Bowl 59 champions on my profile as my profile. I think it was what for a whole week.
For a
I
whole
believe it
week.
was. Yeah, a
And
whole week.
then
Yeah.
vice versa, if the Eagles won, which ended up happening, I ended up changing my profile picture to the Eagles being the Super Bowl 59 champions for a week.
Yep. Yep. And he kept his promise, and I give him credit for that. So I tip my hat to you, my dude.
Hmm.
Uh, but funny enough, chat. Just add a little extra to this. After halftime, or actually, no. I don't think no. It wasn't halftime. It was after the Devontae Smith 46-yard touchdown catch that he made to make it 30. I think it was 34 to nothing. I then called I called detective just to like even though I was elated and I'm like, yeah, this is gonna happen, like this is gonna happen. I a small part of me in my heart felt really bad for him and I wanted to call him, which I did, and I'm like, are you okay, man?
But
I just want to
like,
make
I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Like, it was just,
you
I
you
was
didn't
speechless.
you had you had hardly had anything to say, and which I didn't blame you. You were just so like in utter shock, which
Hmm.
again I don't blame you. That like I just wanted to stay on the call with you for the rest of the for the rest of the game. Oh my god! But no, it was a funny memory between the two of us back then. But hell, unfortunately, we're not gonna have that same repetition this season. But hey,
Hmm.
like the detective said, destiny could happen again because they made it to the Super Bowl in 22. Chiefs won. Then they made it to this. Both teams made it to the Super Bowl again last year in 24. The Eagles won. So we'll see if there's ever a match in 2026 for this pattern to
Hmm.
continue, and I certainly hope it does. That reminds me, where is Super Bowl 61 going to be played at?
I have to look that up because
I'm
I'm
gonna,
not
I'm gonna do it.
entirely
No,
sure.
no, I'm doing it right now. Hold on. Super Bowl. Whoops. Hold on. Nope, typing
61.
it wrong. 60.
SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California, and
Oh,
it's held on Valentine's Day.
it's in LA.
Hmm.
Oh, really? LA? Oh, fine,
And it's
whatever. At least.
yeah, also it's on Valentine's Day next year. So
Oh my. Oh my
how
God!
ironic is that?
It's on Valentine's Day. Oh my God! If it turns out to be the Eagles and the Chiefs again on Valentine's
Say,
Day,
Happy Valentine's Day, Pookie. Fuck your team.
yeah, yeah. Oh my God, our emotions are gonna be really fucking high between the two of us. There's gonna be a lot. There's gonna be a lot of tension between the two of us. If it actually happens.
I
Oh my
hope that
God.
happens, to be honest. But we'll see. You never know how these things play out.
Exactly.
But,
Exactly. All
but
right.
yes, with that being said, like, thank you guys so much for going on this journey with me throughout the season. It was a wild one, to say the least. I really
All
want to do
right.
these next year. I really enjoyed like predicting every single game, going through all that. I'm a football fan at heart. I really enjoy doing these types of things. It seems complicated, but it's a really actually a very easy sport to follow for me. So with just a
No,
lot going
I'm
on.
1000% with you. I'm thousand. It is easy to follow up. It really is.
Hmm. But thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like, be sure to subscribe, be sure to share the channel around. It helps me grow. A little bit of schedule things though, kind of changing things up. We're gonna push back the 200 sub special to next week for scheduling reasons, with like some of the people not being able to make it this weekend. Friday's gonna be VR Chat Friday. Saturday, I'm not sure if I'm gonna do anything Saturday. I may do some more Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog with Maddie. It's just gonna depend on the times and stuff. And then Sunday, I'm gonna be watching the Super Bowl. I'm not sure if I'm gonna. I know some people are gonna be like freaking like, oh, maybe you should cover it. I'm like, not yet. Not it's not my
Not
time
yet.
yet.
If anything, we can. If anything, I can join you again, and we can do like a recap of the whole entire game, and
Hmm.
just see how that whole thing plays out. And then we can do something like that. But yeah, no, and that's what I'll be doing as well. So yeah, so chat on my end, I don't intend on streaming. I don't intend on streaming tonight. My in fact, my next stream, actually there was a bit of plan changes because I was gonna play Phasmophobia with a good friend of mine, but apparently she had some work purposes in terms of her job that called her saying, hey, you need to work tomorrow. So I actually might stream back to back days on tomorrow and on Friday. Seems like tomorrow, based on my poll, I think I'm gonna stream Sonic Rumble tomorrow. But as for Friday, I don't know. I might stream a completely different game. I might stream Crossroads again. Actually, we'll just see what happens. But yeah, just keep an eye out for that, chat. And let's get my bro here to 300 subs by the summer, or maybe even like
Hell yeah.
later on in the year. Let's make that happen, okay? For
And
both
also
him and
get Andrew
myself.
to 300 as well at some point. I don't know when he's gonna hit that. Hopefully soon.
Maybe, but hey, one at a time, and I'm more than fine with that. So, we got our predictions, chat.
Hmm.
Both Detective and myself are predicting the Seattle Seahawks to be Super Bowl 60 champions,
Yes,
and
sir.
we'll see how it plays out come Sunday night.
Hmm. Maybe they'll actually run it on the 1 yard line this time. But with that being said, see you later,
Absolutely.
peeps. Thanks for watching.
Take care, everyone.